Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I was here last year as well, so thank you, Thomas, and thank you for Branded and Ogilvy having us here. Isn't Ben awesome? Give him another round of applause. At LinkedIn, we call him the Doogie Howser MD of Insights, and it's pretty clear as to why. And so I definitely encourage you to get to know him, go talk to him. He's just recently joined the measurement working group of the IAB Singapore, and so he represents LinkedIn on that working group. So he has a lot of knowledge and a lot of insights that he can share with all of you. Today, I'm going to be talking about the B2B social opportunity, and I lead our insights team here in Asia Pacific. I've been doing that for the past year or so. And we're going to be talking about what we like to call the social content economy and what it means to be different in that social content economy, because we really feel that B2B brands have the opportunity right now to not only be different, act different, but think differently about what this looks like. How much do you guys get, anxious when you think about B2B and how boring it can be and how emotionless it is? And oftentimes we hear about that from our clients as well. So we really think that it can be exciting. It can be something that we can all engage with and look forward to. So the B2B social opportunity is something that I want us all to think about, even for brands that focus on B2C. B2B is an exciting new space that we should be looking at. So I want us to think outside the box. Let's take a leap of faith here, and I'm going to share with you 6 ideas across 3 different areas as to how we can think differently. So rethinking about the way we approach targeting, the role that content plays, but also how does social result in ROI? And we actually think that we can look at social to drive leads and drive sales. Earlier we heard that the power of social and content to boost your brand, but actually we also think that there is a role that social and content and B2B can play in driving leads. So I'm going to start at the very top of the funnel and share some ideas as to how we can think about reach differently. And Ben touched on activating your employees. That's going to be an exciting new area that I'll be talking about as well. So the first idea is go broad or go home. And this is a saying that we often say at LinkedIn when we educate our clients. It doesn't mean broad reach. It means thinking about reach differently and who you want to reach specifically. So with awesome targeting comes awesome responsibility. And this is something that we often tell our clients. So all too often, clients will come to us and say, oh my God, LinkedIn is amazing. I can reach that one person who sits in that one function in that one company. And they're the sole person I need to talk to because they're the decision maker. But by doing so, you may be limiting the people who are actually influencing that decision as well. So let me give you an example of here at LinkedIn. When our IT decisions are being made, LinkedIn employees are consulted as to what phones we want to use, what laptops we want to use. We have a choice between Mac or PC, Lenovo specifically. And so we as individual contributors have an influence in that decision making that's happening. And this is a concept that's very non-conventional to traditional B2B marketers. Last year, we worked with Comscore to do research on the B2B tech decision-making journey. And in that research, we found that 4 out of 10 who influence B2B tech purchases, they actually sit outside the IT function. And 44% of them are individual contributors. So people who work in sales, in marketing, in all these other functions, not just the IT decision maker who's actually making that decision and influencing that decision. So the first idea is to think about targeting differently. Think about who you may be reaching and who else is involved in that decision-making journey. The second idea I want to share with you is don't forget your employees. Now, this is something that's very exciting and very close to LinkedIn's value proposition. Obviously, you as employees of your companies are on LinkedIn, and you're on LinkedIn as an employee, but also you're on LinkedIn as a member for yourself, as a professional. And when you're on LinkedIn, you're often representing yourself as your professional brand, but you're also representing who you are as an employee of that company. So employees is a new way to think about owned social media. And I want to share with you some interesting statistics on some ways to think about this differently. So these are some employees. You may recognize some of them from your company, but actually I just got this from Getty Images, so they're not actual real employees. But they when we looked at the top 10 companies in Asia Pacific, based on the LinkedIn content marketing score, it's our way to measure how influential brands are when it comes to content. We see that the average company has about 92,000 employees on LinkedIn. And those same 10 companies have an average follower base on LinkedIn of 670,000 followers. So just remember those two numbers for a second. Those 92,000 employees on LinkedIn, their first degree network, so their connections, reach a total of 4.3 million people. So if the average company has 92,000 employees on LinkedIn, and the sum of all those connections is 4.3 million people, that's nearly 7 times larger than their follower base on LinkedIn. So you all know about followers, you all know about fans, and you all know that you have plenty of them on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. But this is sitting underneath your nose, and you've never thought about this before as to how you can leverage your employees to actually amplify your brand messaging and then see business return and business outcomes as a result. And how do you do this on LinkedIn? Many different ways. Thomas asked the great question as to what exactly is content marketing. So on LinkedIn, the content that you can use, that employees can share, is status updates, is long-form posting. You may see influencers on LinkedIn sharing blog-type posts. That all of those type of information can be shared by your employees today. So it's an exciting opportunity. It's a huge opportunity that you should all be thinking about differently. So as we go down the funnel now, let's talk about nurturing differently. And what does nurture mean? Nurture is a term that we use in B2B to talk about how you leverage content to warm your prospects and to push them down the funnel so then they become eventually a sales lead. The Corporate Executive Board conducted research that found that B2B buyers are about 60% of their way through their decision-making journey before they even pick up the phone to call you, before they even send an email to ask you a question. And so how do you actually nurture those prospects, those buyers, before they even pick up the phone? And the way to do that is the third idea here I want to share with you is that content is the new sales call. And content specifically on LinkedIn can help you nurture differently, can help you nurture that prospect so then they become a warm prospect and a lead. And so through content, in our own research, the one I just mentioned about with ComScore, we found that it takes about 5 pieces of content for a buyer to be exposed prior to making that purchasing decision. And this type of data point exists everywhere. Google zero moment of truth, if anyone's familiar with that research. Looking at that invisible moment when a buyer makes a purchase decision that's not clear to the brand marketer, they found that it takes about 10 pieces of content. So those 2 data points combined from 5 to 10 pieces just goes to show how much content it takes in order to influence that decision making. And so coupling these data points with Ben's insights earlier, you have a better understanding of what type of content on LinkedIn works, how much content, and then how to execute that. The fourth idea, and this one is really exciting for us, it's about rethinking who you target. It's building on that first point I talked about going broad or go home. And this is thinking about targeting in a different kind of way. And we have a lot of unique insights that can add a lot of value here. So we recently created a tool called Trending Content. And this goes far and above beyond what you see in terms of trending hashtags or trending topics. We look at all the share volume that happens on LinkedIn across 2 million online publishers that have that in-share button on that article that you're reading. And we can overlay LinkedIn demographics to understand not only who is sharing, but who are they? And so this is a topic, mobility here, mobile marketing is a topic that is probably of top of mind to a lot of brand marketers here in Asia. And a lot of brand marketers will come to us and say, I want to talk about mobility content to IT decision makers. But our data actually also shows that the people you pay to reach may not be the people who are actually engaging with your content. And so when we give this level of insight to brand marketers that salespeople, expats in Asia are also engaging with mobile content, this helps them think about the opportunity differently. And you can actually go after new different segments that you had never thought about before. And we do this across 17,000 different topic classification areas. Let's change the topic here real quick. So look at social media marketing, a topic that's probably near and dear to all of us in the room here. And still in the Asia region, What's interesting here is small business owners on LinkedIn are engaging quite heavily with social media content. And it's clear why. We've done a lot of research about small business owners, and we know that they're very, very proud, and they want to use social media to drive more leads, to get new customers, and to grow their business. And so brands who push out social media content, especially case studies, how-tos, that kind of content, is going to help small business owners. And we see brands like American Express, Open, for example, do that very well. And with LinkedIn integration, they have a great forum for small business owners to engage with. We can go deeper. We can look at which industries, which seniorities, and which functions engage with social media marketing content. So this is the kind of insight that we can provide. And then in a later release this year, where we relaunch this tool, we can also provide a benchmark for brands and their content engagement within audiences. So the gray bar represents the average, and the blue bar represents a brand that we have debranded here. But you can also see where is this content where did it come from? And how is it being consumed on LinkedIn? So in this particular example, a lot of the brand's content that's being engaged on by IT decision makers are coming from the New York Times. So learning that kind of insight as to where this content comes from and how are they engaging with it is very powerful. And you can also double click on each one of these topic areas and see what is the article, all the articles that are driving these topics. Okay, so the last area I want to talk about is measurement and measuring differently. So this is in our wheelhouse, obviously, as a research and analytics team. Measurement is talking about ROI and what is the outcome that we look for when we do all of these efforts. And the fifth idea I want to share with you is a new measure that we built to measure content marketing success on LinkedIn. And this is called the Content Marketing Score. I just touched on that a moment ago, where we take the sum of all a brand's engagement on content across different audiences, and we can measure their influence on LinkedIn in these audiences. We can also benchmark the brand's performance to their competitors as well. So these are some of the top best-in-class brands that we see on LinkedIn here in Asia Pacific right now who are doing content marketing very successfully. And those include Toshiba, Microsoft, HP, Nissan. We heard from Dan Sloan earlier. So I definitely encourage you to go to their company pages, look at the content that they're producing, look at what they're sharing, learning from how they do that, and see what's working and what's not working. What are the audiences engaging on? And hopefully you're left feeling inspired as to what the opportunity looks like in B2B. So looking specifically at a specific example here, I'm going to drill down into Toshiba in just a moment. But the sixth and last idea I wanted to share with you is how social content can drive leads. And we've seen this time and time again from many different customers, including HubSpot, including American Express, and including Toshiba in this case. So Toshiba in 2011 created a smart community website where they showcased and evangelized a lot of the innovative, sustainable community projects that they do. And they used B2C social media channels to drive traffic to that website. But then in 2013, they came to us with a challenge to see how we could actually use LinkedIn to drive not only traffic to their microsite, but use LinkedIn as a customer acquisition channel. And so what they did was they used the showcase page that you just saw, which is a brand marketing channel on LinkedIn. They use company updates and sponsored updates, as well as SlideShare as a repository for their content. And they gate the content as well with lead generation forms. And all of these different channels and efforts drive traffic to their microsite, where they use LinkedIn lead generation forms to then close the loop. And they can measure from initial exposure through to all the different points of contact with content on LinkedIn and off LinkedIn on SlideShare. They can see then how much that impacts the final conversion and the sales lead that they've generated off of that content. So we've seen higher awareness for Toshiba as a result of these efforts. But then, excitingly, they mentioned that LinkedIn and SlideShare is a LinkedIn property, generated the most social media conversions compared to every other social media network where they publish this content. And so naturally, as a B2B opportunity, this is a space where they can play and they can own. And this is not surprising to us. The Content Marketing Institute did a survey of brand marketers, and they found that LinkedIn was not only the most used B2B content marketing social media website, but brand marketers rated it as the most effective. And here in Asia Pacific specifically, LinkedIn, based on Ipsos's Business Elite, it has the greatest reach among affluent business professionals compared to all other business and online news media publications. And so this is a tattoo that I have on my lower back. I'm just kidding. But if you want this, then we can give it to you too. But I want to leave you with this sentiment after the 6 ideas I just shared, because we actually do love B2B, and we feel that B2B can be exciting. And I want us to all leave here with a renewed sense of enthusiasm and excitement about what B2B can do. And it doesn't have to be boring, and we should show some emotion. And this is how we connect with our audiences. And next year, LinkedIn Marketing Solutions it's going to be a big year for us from a B2B perspective. You may have heard we recently acquired Bizo. It gives us the ability to do full funnel, multi-channel nurturing, as well as nurturing down through to conversion. And so it's going to be a big year. I can't wait to see what you guys all do next year on the platform. Thank you for coming, and thanks so much.